Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyan Manji Vidyapit for the students of Standard 9, in which we are learning the subject of English. Students, from previous lecture we have started with chapter number 11 of the main book, that is Behave. Let us take a quick recap of chapter number 11. Name of the chapter is If I Were You. It is written by Douglas James. He is an American author, and this is a play that we are dealing with. We have had the starting of the play where the scene opens and we see the main character, that is uh, Gerard. He is speaking on the phone with someone and he says that give him 10 minutes, so I'll just reach over there. And meanwhile, when his back is, he is uh, he's planning to travel, and for that purpose he has kept a traveling bag uh, on the divan over there, and he is packing his things. His back is towards a door on the stage, and from there an intruder, he quietly enters with a revolver in hand, and then both of them have quite a lot of talking to do. The intruder, he intends to kill Gerard and take his place over there. uh, Meanwhile, Gerard is not even a little bit nervous in that situation. He seems totally that not afraid of the gun which is held in the hand of the intruder. He is not afraid when a gun is pointed at him. Yes, he is very cool and calm, and he tries to trap the intruder in asking about his name, which of course the intruder does not give. But then that is Gerard. He gets lots of information from the intruder. Even without the intruder, he forces the intruder with the help of his words. He traps the intruder in his words, and he is able to talk with him. So we have done so far, and let us go ahead with the. So Gerard comes to know that the intruder is a thief and his specialty is jewelry. And the intruder says that because this cottage is so much secluded, quite far away from the nearby locality, and this place is not famous for any a rich possession, and of course this cottage is quite far away from the near locality. So the author, the main character, that is Gerard, he uh, surprisingly he wouldn't keep lots of cash or valuables over here because he might be away from his home. And meanwhile there is nobody at home, so what happens is it is open to thieves, etc. He knows those things, so he's not going to keep any valuables over here, that the thief knows. So Gerard asks him that if you know that I live in this lonely cottage and I don't keep jewels over here. You say your specialty is robbery of jewels, but then you won't find here in Essex. You won't find any jewels. So why are you here? So the intruder says, I plan to retire over here in this cottage. I want to live over here. So that is where we had stopped last time. So we go ahead. Gerard is quite surprised. He says, you mean to live with me? Now, I didn't invite you. I don't know you. You are a total stranger. And I would feel quite uncomfortable with a thief or a criminal. I wouldn't like to live like that. Yes, and triple sudden. It's a triple sudden, right? Triple means a little bit. Yes, and sudden. It's all of a sudden you just come to my house and say, I want to live with you. Now, that doesn't happen anywhere in the world. Yes, it may happen with friends, right? So he gets bored or he has some work in this part of the town. He says, okay, a few days I'll come and live with you. We do agree. Yes, it does put us in quite an uncomfortable position. But then, yeah, friends, relatives, they always harass us at odd times. That we can understand. But here, a total stranger, and that also a thief. On top of that, he's a criminal, right? And his specialty is thieving and robbery of jewels. And of course, if he comes to live with you, then of course the police is also going to be behind you, and all this is happening very and quite a lot of pace. You are not being invited. I didn't invite you, so you just can't come to my house and announce yourself as if you are going to live over here. That cannot happen. Intruder says, you won't be here long. I will be here, but you will not be there. So I didn't trouble to ask. Now, anyway, I'm going to kill you. So you are not going to be here for quite a long time. After that, I'll be here. But then, as I have the gun in my hand and I'm going to murder you, I don't have to ask you. I'm just telling you. What do you mean? Says Gerald. Intruder says, this is your big surprise. This is the big surprise that you're going to get. I'm going to kill you. Yes, this is the biggest surprise that I'm going to give you. Yes, you say this is my house. Okay. You says I'm not invited. Okay. You say that all of a sudden you just can't come to my house and announce that I'm going to live over here. All that is okay. But then I have come to this house and I'm going to live this in a house, but then you will not be living. Yes, by that it means that I'm going to kill you. When I kill you, I'm the only person over here. Then I will become you and then live for the rest of my life. Police won't be looking for me because the person who is living in this house is Gerard, and Gerard is known to be quite a simple person, and at least he is not a thief, so the police won't suspect that. A little harsh, isn't it? It's a little bit rude. It's a little bit harsh. It's quite direct to come and say to somebody that I'm in your house and I'm going to kill you. Yes, that's quite a direct way, quite a rude way to say that. Introduces with heavy sarcasm. He's taunting. Yes, ye. I'll be sorry to do it. I've taken a fancy to you, but it's just going to be done. Yes, I also know it's quite rude. It's quite hard. Yes, it is something unbelievable. You go to somebody's house and then you announce that I'm going to kill you. Right? I know that's quite harsh. It should not be. It's not a civilized way of talking. I'm going to kill you. Right? I know it's rude. But then I have taken a fancy of you. That means I just imagine myself in your place, and well, this much conversation between you, I started liking you. I won't like to kill you, but then what thing must be done must be done. Gerard, he says, why add murder to your other crimes? It's a grave step you're taking now. Jewel robbery or thieving, okay. Even you don't get a life sentence for that. You don't get to live whole of your life in a prison for stealing or robbing. You're not injuring anyone, right? Injuring someone or threatening to kill someone or kill some, it's another type of crime, right? Here, you are in need of money. Somebody who is in need of money, say a thief, etc. He just does this crime. So your specialty is robbing jewels. That is fine. It's okay. But then you are including murder now to the crimes that you have already done, and that is not good. It's a grave step. That is, it's quite a big step that you are taking, and it's going to hurt you. Intruder says, I'm not taking it for fun. I have been hunted long enough, and you seem to say that as if I am adding murder to the rest of crimes that I have been doing. Yes, murder. I don't do murder. Yes, I steal jewels from people, right? Those who are having it, right? So that is one type of crime, but it does not include hurting any other human being or killing any human being. That's quite a grave. That's quite a serious step that you are taking. Yes. So the intruder says that yes, I know. It's quite a serious crime to kill someone or even to say someone that I'm going to kill you. It tells the intention, and that is also quite bad enough. But I am not doing it for fun. I am not taking those things for fun. Yes, I have been hunted long enough. That means the police is always after me. I cannot live for long at one place because the police somehow comes to know I'm there. They raid the place and I have to run away from there. I find another place, maybe 1.5 months I might be living over there. Again, some or the other way, the police comes to know about my hiding. Yes, I plan something, I execute something, I steal jewels. Again, that another crime adds, and now the police is furiously looking after me. It's hunting me down at each and place, every place, and I am fed up of running from pillar to post here and there. Right? I'm fed up of that life. I don't want to live in hiding. I want to live in open. Yes, and to live in open, that means like a normal citizen, I should not be doing any crime. Right? So now the police is hunting me. So I have been hunted long enough. I have wanted for murder already, and they can't hang me twice. Now, if you say jewelry robbery or a jewels robbery is one thing and murder is another, then I'll tell you that I have already murdered uh, before. Yes, this is not the first time I'm going to commit murder or I'm not going to do murder, right? I have already done murder once before, and so the police is already looking for me, not only for stealing jewels but also I'm wanted for murder. So now you do. What the interview is that they can hang me twice. That means you have committed one murder, you have killed someone, the police is going to hang you for that. You do another murder, then the person cannot be made alive and again hanged the second time. I do one murder, two murder, the sentence is the same, that is you will be hanged, right? So they are going to hang me once only, whether I murder one person or whether I murder more than one person, the judgment is going to be same. So for me it doesn't make any difference. I am already wanted for one murder, and the police will, if they find me when I have done two murder, the story is going to be the same. Gerard says, you are planning a gratuitous double, so to speak. Admitted you have nothing to lose, but what have you to gain? So Gerard says, okay, you are planning for murder. So Gerard comments that what you are planning is quite rude as it's quite serious, and you admit that you have already committed a murder earlier. Now you are going to commit another, that means a double, but without reason. The first reason might also be without any the first murder might also be without any reason, right? And this one is absolutely without any reason, because you are a specialist in stealing jewels. Yes, I don't have any jewels. Yes, so you are committing a murder without any reason. So it's a gratuitous double, so to speak. Yes, first also you committed without reason, second also you're going to kill without reason. You don't have any reason to kill people. Admitted you have nothing to lose. Yes, the police can't hang you twice, right? You will die only one time, whether you commit one murder or more than one murder. That is accepted. But what have you to gain? You are not losing anything, but what will you gain from committing a murder again? Introduces, I got freedom to gain. Yes, if you say I don't have anything to lose, yes, at the same time, what am I going to gain? What am I going to gain is freedom. Freedom from what? As for myself, I am a poor hunted rat. Yes, as a cat hunts a mice, the mice is always trying to run here and there, trying to hide some fine way in which to conceal itself, hide away from the cat not being caught and eaten away by the cat. Yes, and it's always running here and there, and it's quite in a very worrisome situation where whether the rat will live or not, the rat itself doesn't know, right? In the same way, I am a hunted man. I am hunted by the police very much, and my situation is not better than a rat which is being hunted by a cat. As Vincent Charles Gerard, I am free to go places. Yes, now he knows the Christian name of Gerald. We learned earlier that his Christian name was Vincent Charles, and the surname is Gerard. Okay, so if I become you, I kill you, then I'll become you. If I become you, everybody will think me as Gerard, and then I'll be free to go anywhere because I have not committed any crime. If the police stops me, I'll show your identification. Yes, because I look alike, nearly alike like you, same, similar to you. So what will happen is the police will look at my ID and they will look at me and they will compare the both of that, and they will let me go because I am Gerard. They will not take me as a jewel thief or a murderer, because Gerard is not such a man according to police records. He is quite a simple man. He works hard, earns money, and is living quite a very good life without committing any crime. So in the police records, as per the Justice Department, there is no crime recorded in the name of Vincent Charles Gerard. If I kill you, if I become Vincent Charles Gerard, then I have done nothing. Yes, nobody will even think that earlier I was a jewel thief, I committed murders. Yes, nobody will know that you don't even exist. Yes, everybody will think me as Vincent Charles Gerard. So as Vincent Charles Gerard, I'm free to go places. Wherever I want, I can go. and do nothing. That means now, because I have um, stolen so many jewels, I have made so much money that I don't have any job to do. I don't need to work. I can live the rest of my life freely as Vincent Charles and doing nothing. I can eat well, sleep well, and without having to be ready to beat it at the sight of a cop. Yes, I can without any worries, because now I'm not worried about police. Police is not looking for Gerald. Police is looking for the jewel thief and the murderer. Now I am Gerard. Now you are dead. I am Gerard. So the police will let me go scot free. So I don't have anything to worry about. I can eat well, I can sleep well, I can enjoy my life like anything. And what happens right now is I see a cop, I start running. Cop, police. I see a policeman, I start running. Because if they catch me, then they'll know I am, who I am. But if I become Gerard, if I murder you and if I become Gerard, I replace you, then what will happen? Seeing a cop or a police, I do not have to run because Gerard has done nothing. Police doesn't know whether I am the original Gerard or I have taken his place. So, Gerard says, in most melodramas, the villain is foolish enough to delay his killing long enough to be frustrated. You are much luckier. Now, we have seen lots of Hindi movies, English movies. Yes, uh, whenever the villain is in possession of weapons and uh, the hero or the opposite character is without weapons, helpless, yes, then he becomes proud because now he knows that he has weapon and the other person does not have weapon. He is literally at the mercy of the villain, and then the villain, he starts his play, he starts his drama, he starts his dialogues, yes, and boastful dialogues are given to him, right? Because he knows that the other person is not in a place. It's a win-win situation because he has the gun in his hand or the weapon in his hand, right? And the other party does not have anything in his hand. He's helpless. I can kill him whenever I want right now, or I can just boast about myself for 1 hour and then kill him. It doesn't make any difference. So that is what Gerard is saying. In most melodramas, in most of these dramas that we have in movies or on theaters, usually the villain is foolish enough. Now that is where the villain is very, very foolish, because he is giving ample amount of time to the hero to think of some plan, how to turn the tables, how to turn the situation in his benefit, right? We know usually that is the happy ending that we have, that the villain is in full control of the situation. Yes, he has the weapon is in his hand and he is pointing out his gun at the hero. All of that is true, but then he starts speaking his dialogue and boasting off, and yeah, and that gives a chance to the hero, yes, to turn the tables and turn the situation in his favor. Now, at the end of the movie, what happens? Usually the gun comes in the hand of the hero, and now the villain has to die. So in most of the dramas, these things happen. So in most melodramas, the villain is foolish enough to keep on delaying the murder long enough to be frustrated. Now he gets so much frustrated, he is going to commit a mistake, and that will be very good for the hero because he gets a chance to get hold of a weapon, or at least to make the villain drop his weapon, so that both of them, they are literally without weapons and they can have a fair fight. And we know villain usually gets killed at the end of the movie, whether it is English movie, Hindi movie, whatever, right? And Bollywood, Tollywood, everywhere it's the same story. So here also Gerard says that usually the melodrama, the villain is foolish enough to continue the conversation. Yes, and at the end, what happens? The hero gets the time to do something and turn the tables or turn the situation. Right? You are much luckier. Yes, you have a weapon in hand. Anytime you want, you can kill me, and I won't be needing all that time to do something. Intruder says, I'm okay. I got a reason for everything. I'm talking to you. When I have a gun in my hand. Now, listen to the situation. The intruder has the gun in his hand. without doing any talking, even without telling Gerard what his intentions are. He can just come in and kill Gerard. Yes, he can dispose of with the body, he can get all the essentials, etc. Yes, and he can become Gerard. Why should he waste his time in making unnecessary conversation with Gerard? Now, he's doing it for a reason. That is what Intruder is saying. I just came over here. I might have uh, tailing you for quite a while, and I know little bit things about you. That your name is Gerard. Yes, I didn't know your Christian name. Now I came to you. I asked it. That's how I came to know your Christian name. Same way, you have a car that I came to know when I saw it in the garage. So same way, now what you are working, what your friends are, because friends might come anytime or just open the door, not even without knocking, right? So what happens is, I don't know him, but Gerard knows. That's a problem. Then I'll be caught. So I have reason for everything. I am not killing you instantly because I need lots of information. Because if I want to be you, I have to be comfortable, yes, knowing everything about you. I got a reason for everything. I'm going to be Vincent Charles Gerard. See, I got to know what it talks like now, right? I should know how he's talking, what is his way of talking, how is his style of walking, talking, everything. Now I know because I'm talking to you, right? I saw you walking here and there, so I know how you're walking, I know you're talking, how you speak things, what are your pronunciation, what is your way of pronunciation, right? So now I know that posh stuff comes easy, posh, that rich kind of stuff, because you are a rich person, yes, so that posh rich stuff comes very easy. This is how you speak, so I'm going to imitate and you tell me whether I'm doing it correctly or not. This is Mr. VC Gerard speaking on the phone. How do you speak? Now I know, right? Because when I came in, you were talking to someone. I know how you talk now. So that becomes easy for me to take the place of Gerard. So I'm just, there is a word over here, pantomime, right? Pantomime, you don't have actually the phone here, but with the help of your hands, you make a phone and you're gesturing. So pantomiming of phoning in imitation of cultured voice that Gerard has. Okay, this is Mr. VC Gerard speaking, right? This is the way he spoke, Gerard, actual Gerard. So now I have listened to you and I know how you speak. So that's going to help me in taking place of Gerard. And that's not all. He stands up. Get up a minute. Now take a look at me, right? So that not only that, how you talk, that I know. How you walk, that also I know. Just look how I walk. So he asked Gerard to get up, Gerard, because he has a gun in hand, and Gerard has to do as he is told. So Gerard stands up. Now take a look at me. That is the introducing. Gerard, you're not particularly decorative. So we know Gerard is quite witty person and is very quick at giving answers and trying to confuse the other person. So when he says, look at me, he says, no, you are not decorative that much like me. No, well, that goes for you. You are decorative, says the intruder. I'm not, because I'm not wearing the type of clothes that you are wearing right now. I'm just trying to imitate you. I'm still learning. I only got to wear specs and I'll be enough like you to get away with it. Now, both of us are standing face to face. Yes, your height, my height equal, your build, that is shoulders and the rest of the part, it's quite good enough, so your clothes are going to fit me. Your face, my face will look alike, right? Only thing is you're wearing glasses, I don't wear glasses. So what I'll do is I'll wear specs. I'll only got to wear specs, that is spectacles, and I will look very nearby, somewhere near you, so that I can pass off as Gerard. Gerard says, what about your clothes? Just look at you. You are flashily clothed. I don't wear, it's not my taste. Yes, you'll go out somewhere, people will know this is not Gerard because this is not his style of attire. Yes, he doesn't wear flashy clothes. He is quite a rich man and he has got his own taste, sober taste. Yes, quite good taste. What about your clothes? They'll let you down if you're not careful. Yes, we know how a particular person is dressing. We find him in another type of dressing. Yes, then we instantly know, there is some change. This person has bought some new clothes or his taste has changed. Yes, so the same thing happens. You kill me, you become Gerard. But then your clothes will give you away. People will recognize, the police will also recognize that earlier this person did not used to wear such type of clothes. My friends will know, my family will know, everybody will know that this is not Gerard because this is not the way he wears clothes, right? So what about your clothes? They'll let you down if you're not careful. Intruder says, that's going to be all right. Your clothes will be fitting mine properly. Yes, this is extremely interesting, says Gerard, but you seem to miss the point of my remark. Yes, so the intruder did not concentrate on the remarks given by Gerard. What he meant to say, that it's not about the size of my clothes. We both are like having the same build, so my clothes will fit you. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you about the taste of the choice of your clothes. Point of my remark, I said you were luckier than most melodramatic villains. It was not a tribute to your intelligence. You won't kill me for a very good reason. Yes. Now, I said the same thing, that you did not understand what I meant. I said in most of the melodramas, the villain gives enough chances to the hero unknowingly, right? And the table turns, or the situation turns. Now the gun is not in the hand of the villain, it will be in the hands of the hero. Now, you said you want to kill me, but I have one reason to tell you that you are not going to kill me. So, intruder says, okay, well, that's what you think. Okay, now Gerard says, you let me go, and thank God you didn't shoot sooner. Now, most of the movies, it happens in that way, that instead of the villain shooting the hero, usually he gives a chance to the villain, to the hero snatches the gun or something like that, and then he is able to shoot the villain, and that's the end of the story. But here you will bless yourself. You are luckier that you did not shoot me. Now what's going to happen is, you are not going to shoot me. You are allowing me to go scot free. Yes, you are going to allow me to go. You are not going to kill me, and I have a very good reason for that. And you'll bless God that you didn't shoot me earlier. Otherwise, you would be in some unknown situation that you didn't even know about me. So, intruder says, come on, what's your mind? Better be quick. The conversation bores me. Now, this type of conversation is going to bore me. Now, before I shoot you, just say whatever you want to say, so that I can finish off. And this conversation, I can kill you and dispose. Gerard says, your idea is to elude the police by killing me and taking on my identity. Okay, you are saying be quick, so I'm going to be quick. Now, why do you want to kill me? You want to kill me because you want to elude. Elude means you want to escape from the police. You want that the police should not be able to catch you as a jewel thief. Now, so that's why you want to kill me. When you kill me, you take my place as Gerard, and Gerard has done nothing, so the police will not catch you, right? That is what is your idea. You want to take my identity, kill me, take my identity, become Gerard, so the police does not catch you. So intruder says, yes, that's the idea. Gerard says, but are you sure it's going to help you? Do you know anything about me? Are you sure that this idea of yours, killing me, taking my identity, is going to help you? Now the intruder, he senses something. He says, now listen here, I've got this all planned. I did a job in town. Okay, no, so now the intruder becomes more frank. What he says is, I got all of these things planned. I did a job in town, in some nearby town. I did a job, that means I stole jewelry, right? I stole some jewels, etc. And uh, things went wrong, and I killed a cop. Now, something went wrong while I was escaping. Maybe some police cops saw me, and police or cops saw me, and they ran after me, trying to catch me. I killed one of the police. Now, when you kill a policeman, whole of the police department is going to be after you, right? Since then, I have done nothing but dodge, escape. Yes. Because whole of the police department is after me, what happens is, wherever I go, they get the hint, they get the scent, and they come after me, right? So now I do not have any place to go, because the police is frantically looking after me. Earlier they were looking after simply a case, that is the stealing of the jewels. Now along with that, I kill someone, then murder is also joined to my crime, added to my crime, right? But I kill a policeman, and that's a very, very serious crime, and the police now is not interested in the stealing the jewelry or the jewel robbery case. The police is more interested in catching me and taking a revenge because I killed a cop. So that is the thing. I want to get away from this forever, and that is why I have planned it completely. I saw you, you were just like me, similar to me, so I planned it all and I'm going to execute it. And this is where dodging has brought you. Dodging, escaping from police has brought you where? To my house. Yes, so we expect Gerard to do something, right? That is what he's doing. Intruder, it brought me to Aylesbury, that is a nearby town. That's where I saw you in the car. I came to Aylesbury and I saw you in the car. Now, I was very surprised that in front of me there is a person who is just looking like me, having similar build, similar face. I put on a spectacle. Nobody will be able to judge from far that I am Gerard or someone else. So I saw you in Aylesbury and I saw you in a car. Two other people saw you and started to talk. I listened. It looks that like you are a bit queer, kind of a mystery man, right? When I saw you, two other people also were looking at you and they started talking about you. That is why that is how I came to know that you live over here, but nobody knows you. You are like a mystery man. You come and go. Nobody knows about you. When you are in the house, when you are not there, what you do. Nobody knows that thing. So that is just fitting to me, right? I can easily take up your place. Yes, I can replace you. I can kill you, dispose your body off, and I can start living in that house as Gerard, because people don't know me properly. This town people, they don't know me properly, and that is going to help me. Gerard says the mystery which I propose to explain. That is exactly what I want to explain to. Why don't I mix with the people of the town? Why don't people know more about me? Why people look at me like a mystery man? I want to explain that. So Gerard is planning to do something that we can understand from here. Introduces disregarding him. Your orders, and sometimes you phone your orders and sometimes you go away suddenly and come back just the same. Those are just the things I want to do. Hearing about you was one of my luckiest breaks. I was standing over there, I was looking at you. Two other people also saw you and they were talking, and from that what I heard this much, that this is a mystery man. He lives in this town. When he comes, where he goes, we don't know anything about it. Yes, you always phone your orders. For example, you want grocery, you want eggs, you want milk, you want vegetables, you want newspaper, you want something from the store. Yes, you phone your deliveries. That means the things that you want will be delivered to your house. Maybe the money is kept, or maybe there might be some arrangement for paying. But you don't physically come to the town and go shopping. So that is good for me. I also want to do the same thing. People will keep everything at my doorstep. I'll pay them, right? And they'll go away. Nobody will know whether it is Gerard or the jewel thief living out there. So sometimes you go away, sometimes you come back all the same. Nobody knows where you go. Nobody knows where you come from. And that is just the things I want to do. That means I should also be able to go wherever I like. Nobody will be ever suspicious about me. Jara says, apparently you haven't intelligence to ask why I am invested in this clock of mystery. Yes, Gerard says that you came to know all these things, but did you ask a question to yourself? Yes, why I am behaving in such a way? Why am I trying to be mysterious in the eyes of the townspeople? Right? The town people, they do not know me, who I am, what I am, and I like to be that way. Have you ever imagined why I am trying to do this? Why am I living so far away from the town? I order by phone, I get everything over here delivered to my house. Right? Why I am behaving so mysteriously? Intruder preparing to shoot. Okay, now intruder is fed up of this conversation. He is preparing to shoot. As I said before, this conversation is boring me. I don't want to know anything more. Whatever I wanted to know, I already know you. Yes, I'm going to shoot you. Then do with it. Jira says, don't be a fool. Yes, if you shoot, you'll hang for sure. Now, if you think that by shooting me, by killing me, yes, nobody will come to know and you'll be enjoying your rest of the life, you're a fool. Yes, if you shoot me, you're a fool, because then surely you're going to be hanged. Why? If not as yourself, then, I don't say, okay, you kill me, you shoot me, and I'll be dead. You take my place. But still you will be hanged. Okay, not as intruder or not as the jewel thief or not as a murderer, but you will be hanged, you will be killed by the Justice Department for being Gerard, Vincent Charles Gerard. Now the intruder is shocked. He was thinking about himself that if I get caught, then I'll surely be hanged because I killed a policeman. Now, if I become Gerald, then also people will kill me. People will find me and will hang me. Police is going to hang me as Vincent Charles Gerard. Now, if I am a thief, then also I am going to be hanged. If I become Gerard, then also I am going to be hanged. What is this mystery? What is this? Now, this is now. Gerard says, because one surprise has been given by intruder that I come to your house, I am going to kill you and take your place. Now, that is a surprise for me. Now, I am going to give you a surprise. I said you wouldn't kill me, and I was right. I said you will not kill me, and I was right. You didn't kill me, right? Why do you think I am here today and gone tomorrow? Never see tradespeople. Yes, just think about it. I am here today. I already am packing my bag. My bag is on the couch over here, and I'm packing my bag and I'm going out. Why do you think I go out and I come in without anyone noticing it? And why do I don't talk with tradespeople? You see, you say my habits would suit you. Yes, my habits would suit you now because now uh, you also want to live the same way. Nobody harassing you, especially no police harassing you. You are a crook. Why? You want to kill me and take my place as Gerard, as a common man, a very good citizen, right? You are trying to do it because you're a crook. Then what am I? You do you think I'm a Sunday school teacher? Yes, a Sunday school teacher who is in need of money but wants to earn honestly. He will find his job as a Sunday school teacher because on Sundays the regular teacher will not come, right? So on Sunday, a person who is ready to make some money, he is ready to teach to the weak students, who usually come on Sundays. So do you think I am a Sunday school teacher? Right? I am also a crook, but a bigger crook than you. The game's up as far as I'm concerned. Yes, I am not a Sunday school teacher. I am not such a simple man that you say. I'm not a very good citizen that you might think. Huh? You are a crook. Yes, I am your principal over there. Things went wrong with me. I said it with bullets and got away. Yes, in whatever trade, whatever business I am in, things went wrong. Yes, yes, and bullets were flying on both sides. That means I killed people and police is looking for me. Ran away, got away, ran away. Unfortunately, they got one of my man. One of my person got caught, and the police nabbed him, caught him, and now they know all the secrets about me, who I am, and where I live, etc. And found things the fool should have burnt. Yes, maybe some documents pertaining to Gerard, or some indication that the person they are looking at is Gerard. So that fool should have burnt those documents so that there is no proof I exist. Yes, who was doing all this? But then the fool got caught. Whatever documents were with him, the police got hold of that, and now they know I am the person. Who is that person? Gerard. So they are coming over here to catch me, to arrest me. I'm expecting trouble. Anytime police will be here. So you want to shoot me? Shoot. Yes, I can't do anything because I don't have any weapon in my hand. You shoot me, I'll be dead. You take my place. They will come and arrest you, even though you are a jewel thief. They will still catch you because you are Gerald. You have committed murders. Yes, and you have done some crime. So if you are not going to be caught as a jewel thief, you will still be caught as Gerard, and anytime police will be arriving. My bag's packed. Now I know the police is coming, right? So I have packed my bag and I am ready to go. There it is. Whatever I wanted to say, I have said it. This is me. This is my bag. I am ready to go. You want to kill me? Okay. If you want to become Gerard, okay, but then be prepared. The police is going to come and catch you as Gerard. Intruder says, it's a bag, all right. Okay, I can see it's a bag, all right, and you are prepared to go, all right, but then why should I believe you? And this is a gun, all right. So if that's a bag and you're going away, then please be ensured that I have a gun in my hand. So if you move, if you do anything foolish, I'm going to shoot you. Okay, what is all this thing? I don't know anything about what Gerard is, what Gerard has done. I don't know anything. So now the intruder is a little bit cautious that he was trying to find some comfort over there by living as Gerard, but now he sees that Gerard is equal like him, a criminal, and what happens if he takes Gerard's place? He is going to be hanged instead of Gerard. So what's all this? What is this mystery? That's a disguise outfit, false mustache and whatnot. Now, do you believe me? Now, in the bag, I have a disguise outfit. That's a false mustache, maybe hat, mustaches, spectacles, so that you look totally different when you apply them on your face. Now, do you believe me? Introduces, I don't know. Now he's confused. Musing, it says, confused, I'm not. Gerard says, for God's sake, clear the muddled head of yours and let's go. We don't have time. So, don't be in confusion. I'm running away, you come with me, both of us will escape, right? And we still have time. Once the police are very near, we don't have any time to escape, we'll get caught. Come with me in the car. You said I have a car? Yes, I have a car. Let's use that car. I can use you. Yes, because one person is driving. At the same time, he cannot fight with the police. Yes, so you have a gun in with you. You don't have to worry. I'll drive the car. You do the shooting work if that comes to that, right? So I can use you. If you find it's a frame, you got me in the car and you still got your gun. Now, when we are in the car and you realize that it's a hoax, it's a fraud, and I've cheated you, you have a gun in your hand, shoot me in the car. Yes, I don't mind. But right now, we do not have time. Let's both of us run away. So, intruder says, maybe you're right, because I still have the gun in my hand and I'm going to have the gun in my hand even if we are in the car because you are driving, right? Gerard is going to drive. The intruder is not going to drive. Gerard says, then don't waste time. Goes and picks up the hat and the bag. Intruder says, careful, boss. You don't make such sudden moves. Yes, don't try to attack me. I'm watching you carefully. The moment I see that you're going to attack me or trying to do something foolish, yes, trying to fool me and run away, then I have a gun in my hand. I'm watching you. How do I know that you are telling the truth? Now, intruder says, how do I know that you are telling the truth? You have told me all the story. Maybe this is just a story. Nothing of that is true. You're just trying to fool me. Don't be a fool. Look yourself. Gerard says, open the doors and step away. Intruder leans forward to inspect it with his side towards Gerard, but with the revolver ready. Now, he opens the door, right, and says that, look for yourself, right? So, the intruder takes a little bit peek inside and sees what Gerard wants to make him see, and to ensure that whatever Gerard is saying is true. But he is moving, he's trying to peep in, but his gun is pointed so that if there is a false move from Gerard, he can pull the trigger, right? As he turns his head, Gerard gives him a push in the cupboard, knocking the revolver out of his hand. Right? So, in a very clever way, as soon as he's trying to peek in, he loses his balance because he cannot focus on two things. Inside the cupboard, inside the door which is open, he doesn't know that's a cupboard, right? But it's very dark inside. Maybe it's quite a big cupboard, right? And this is that small little moment, precious moment which Gerard was. As soon as the intruder tries to have a peek inside the cupboard, Gerard pushes him inside the cupboard, and that push and the hand gets knocked on the door of the cupboard and the revolver drops out of his hand. As he turns his head, Gerard gives him a push into the cupboard, knocking the revolver out of the hand. So, a very, very clever criminal, seasoned, experienced criminal like the intruder, whose speciality was stealing jewels, is a specialist in it, right? He is the most experienced person and he does his work without getting caught. Yes, only this last time he was almost caught by a policeman when he had to murder him, right, in order to escape. So he is such a clever person, but he is fooled by a totally simple and a very common man, honest citizen like Gerard, because of his cleverness, because of his wit. Yes, he forces him to look in that empty cupboard. Yes, it might be a door which leads to the garage. That is what the intruder thinks, but he's wrong. As soon as he is off balance, Gerard pushes him into the cupboard and locks him. The gun is already dropped outside. Yes, now Gerard doesn't have to fear that person. He slams the door and he locks it, picks up the revolver and goes to the phone where he stands with the gun pointed at the cupboard door. Suppose the person, with the help of his shoulders, he pushes open the cupboard. Yes, and he has a gun in his hand. Intruder rattles the door and shouts, "Let me out of here! Let me out of here!" Gerard, hello. He is already speaking to someone. Okay, sorry, I can't let you have the props in time because I got some. Now, what are the props? That moustache, hat, all that was prop to be used somewhere in the theater or in the cinema. He needed to make it reach to those people, but he got stuck with the intruder, so he didn't go on. He didn't reach there on time. So he's saying, "I'm sorry, I can't let you have the props in time for rehearsal. I had a spot to bother. That means I was in a little bit of trouble. It's quite amusing. I'll tell you later. I think I'll put it in my next show or next play. I'm going to put whatever things happened with me today. I'll have a drama. Fantastic, and it will be quite a success." Now listen. That intruder is still inside, so the intruder has to be handed over to the cops. So listen, can you tell our friend the sergeant to come up over here at once at my place? Where will you find the sergeant? You'll probably find him in the public bar. He might be loitering around there. So just tell him that Gerard called and he immediately needs your service. So police will be over here in no time. Intruder is still in the cupboard. Even if he comes out of the cupboard, Gerard is having the gun, and by the time police arrives, police will themselves take out the criminal from the cupboard, nab him, arrest him, and rest will become history. So this was a very beautiful play that we learned today. That will be all for today. Thank you, students.